Have you told yourself that you need to grow a thick skin, or your family members and friends have told you to grow a thick skin? Well, let me tell you, just drop that idea. Because number one, we physically can't grow a thick skin, and figuratively also, it's impossible. When we talk about growing a thick skin, basically what we are talking about is to become robots. We basically want to tell ourselves that, well, I am having all these emotions, but I am going to pretend that I am not having these emotions, and I'm going to fake happiness. I'm going to fake as if I'm unaffected and go about the day. That causes a lot of problem. It takes a toll on your mental health and eventually your physical health. And you start questioning yourself, what's going on? I am in a job that I love, and yet I am tired and exhausted. Let's talk about resilience, how to become a resilient leader. For those who do not know me, I'm Dr. Mrinalini Garg. I am a career advancement and leadership and executive coach for South Asian professionals who want to get into higher leadership roles, or if they are already in leadership roles, I help them thriving in those roles so that they can make an impact that they want to make without burning themselves out. So let's talk about resilience. But before we talk about resilience, let's talk about work stress and how that happens and how that affects us. Work stress can be caused by many different things, right? But on a day to day basis, even little things can cause the stress. And if we don't address how we respond to these work stresses, we feel exhausted at the end of the day. We feel we have no energy left in our body. All we want to do is, watch TV, go on Instagram, watch Netflix, and just don't feel like we have energy for anything else. As a result, for those who have children, they they don't have the energy to be with the children, and when children make demands, a lot of parents snap at them because they are exhausted and they don't have anything left in them to give it to the family. And some people can just sleep right away, but a lot of people also lose sleep. They find it very difficult to fall asleep, and they're constantly worrying and thinking about stressful work thoughts. So when you are a leader, the one thing that's expected of you is that you speak up. The other thing that's expected is that you network with people, network with top leaders, push your idea, advocate for your ideas, and express your opinions, articulate opinions, even if they're unpopular. Put out a lot of fires, and they could be of many different kinds. But here is what most commonly happens. Whenever there is interaction with people, and if you are sharing an idea, and if somebody criticizes them, that can be a stressful thing if you don't manage it correctly. Somebody steals your idea and gets credit for that. That could be painful. If you are someone who's afraid of presentations and now you have to go make presentations, that can be very stressful for you. Attending meetings can be very stressful for you. If you are working on a project, there are interruptions, there are challenges, you are troubleshooting and not getting to the outcome that you want for yourself, you can get stressful. If you don't eat very well, if you're not hydrating yourself enough, the stress it'll just multiply. If you haven't had enough sleep at night, your stress levels will be very high. So what you need to understand is that there will always be triggers that will bring up a lot of emotions for you, that will take you in states of mind that are not optimal. So let's refer to this diagram here. So there is a term which was originally coined by Dr. Dan Siegel. So if you see these two lines, this is the tolerance window. This is where our brain works optimally. We have the energy where we can reason and also manage emotions more effectively. But what ends up happening is if we are not aware of what states of mind, work stress, or any stresses for that matter, can take us, there are two states. So one is hyperarousal, which is, you are above the tolerance window, and there is hypoarousal, you are below the tolerance window. So if you look at these, the peaks and lows here, we are out of the tolerance window. So what happens in hyperarousal is that we are in an overreactive state of mind or hyperreactive state of mind. We are, constantly worried about things. We get into that thing of, oh, I have, this deadline I have to meet, and you're feeling very anxious, and you get into that tendency of, oh, I have to prove myself, I have to, somehow show how how valuable I am to this company, and you get into that hyper reactive mode, and it can be extremely exhausting. Our brain cannot keep functioning at that high, at that overreactive level. And the opposite of that is hypoarousal. So, you get into that state where you are overreactive and do, give, get, go somewhere, right? You are in that energy. But if you think about hypoarousal, that's the exact opposite, which is, you feel numb. You don't feel motivated at all. You feel helplessness. You feel there's no point in anything, and you go into depression. So both these states, mental states, are not helpful at all. So let's come back to the thick skin thing. As human beings, for every stimulus, we are going to have a reaction. That's human, right? If we don't react, then we are dead. I mean, if responding to a stimulus is a sign of life, right? And if we stop responding, then we are dead, right? So it's a very normal thing, when there are life stresses, events, situations, people, we can get triggered by all these things. However, if we learn how to stay in this tolerance window, if you see this, the black line going here, right? The ups and downs are still there, because we are humans. We are going to feel whatever we are feeling. We are not going to become robots. So we will have these feelings, but they are within the tolerance window, which is optimal for our brain. Now, a lot of people who come to me, when we do that initial assessment with them on the initial call, they are either in the hyperarousal state, where they are, they are overreactive, and they feel like, I'm not there yet. I haven't achieved where I want to be. And, I do my best. I try to prove myself. I do this, I do that. And the other half is in the hypoarousal state. where they have just given up on themselves. Their self-esteem, seems to be very low. They feel exhausted, they feel tired, they feel that they just need to keep sleeping. And because of these states and not knowing how to get into that tolerance window, they are unable to figure out how to be in their best state of mind when they are at work. So, resilient leaders, they don't grow thick skin. Like I said, it's impossible. You are just pretending, you are faking that you are unaffected. So, that's lying, that's being inauthentic. And you don't want to be that leader, inauthentic. You want to be a resilient leader who is honest, who accepts the humanness, that yes, there will be things, sometimes the ideas might get accepted, sometimes they might not get accepted, sometimes you will make mistakes because you are human. But accepting that I am human and I'm going to have these range of emotions, it starts with that. Resilience starts with that, accepting that I am a human being and I am going to feel this range of emotions, and there is nothing abnormal about it. The abnormal part, it feels abnormal because somehow we cannot shut down from that hyper arousal state. And sometimes we can't shut down from this hypo arousal state. So we keep toggling between these two states, really not knowing how to come to this tolerance window. But the first step starts with awareness that there will be triggers, there will be stimuli. As a the second thing is, as a human being, you are going to have some kind of a response in your body and in your mind. And then the third thing, realizing whether you are in the hyper arousal state or you are in the hypo arousal state. And then the fourth thing is then figuring out, how do I manage my emotions so that I stay in that optimal state within the tolerance window. So what do we do to get into that tolerance window? A lot of people think that, career is all about, if I could get to that next level, I'll be happy, right? If I get a raise, I will be happy. If I get recognition, I will be happy and satisfied and fulfilled. Most people don't realize that these things are not going to give you happiness, because happiness is not outside of you. Happiness is within you. The most happy, or I like to use the word joyful, because joy is something, it in my opinion, it is more, you realize that there will be moments of joy, right? Our whole life, we can't be just happy, 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 happy. With happiness, it just feels like, oh, I have a destination that I have to reach where I will be happy forever. It doesn't happen. I prefer to use the word joy, because we always talk about, there are joys and there are sorrows, and that is a more realistic approach to life. There will be joys and there will be sorrows, whether we like it or not. That's how life is going to be. So the sooner we accept that, the better for us. So the goal is to get to create more of these joyful moments. So joy comes when we are able to manage life stresses, life situations in a manner where we can stay in this window. There are, various ways out there where you can come down from hyperarousal to the tolerance window, and from hypoarousal to the tolerance window. Physical exercise, yoga, meditation, breath work. These are the things that will bring you back to this situation. But a very important thing, because you can do all of this and it will temporarily put you in the tolerance window, but unless and until you address the root cause of the problem, why you get these, you know big variations, if you don't address that, then everything else that you do is like putting a band-aid on a gunshot wound. It's not going to help you heal. So what is the root cause? Root cause is that your upbringing, your childhood experiences play a major role how you are going to show up as an adult. So if you had adverse childhood experiences, and a lot of my clients, they when they when we do the initial assessment, they basically say, yeah, everything was fine, there was no hitting, there was no obvious abuse in the house, and everything was fine. But then as we go deeper, we realize that, yeah, there might not be blatant abuse, but then there's emotional abuse, and it can be a simple thing like neglect. It could be comparison with siblings or cousins or friends. It could be withholding love. It could be having different rules for children. The youngest might be the most loved one, the oldest is the one who has all the responsibilities. Or if it's a girl child, she's responsible for the chores, and boys don't have all those um, responsibilities. So it could be many things that could lead to an adverse childhood. So if you have an adverse childhood, which is actually very common, because people of my parents generation, they didn't have this knowledge, right? So they did whatever they thought was okay, and we tend to think that yes, that was okay, but it wasn't. Right? Now we are not going to go and fight with them and sue them or what. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to understand where all this is coming from, because if you don't address those childhood wounds, then you are going to continue to have these huge spikes. So I'm not a therapist, and I don't give therapy. However, what we do is we use uh, a method that actually helps address some of the root causes that have resulted in people reacting and getting these big spikes. So what happens when you are little? Your frontal cortex is not developed. It's your lower brain, which is your medulla oblongata. That's the part where our limbic system is situated, and limbic system is responsible for there are more parts within the limbic system, and they are responsible for emotions. So there is no filter. So whenever an event happens, an incident happens, as a child, we are not able to filter that through our frontal cortex. So we react just like reptiles, right? The lower brain is also called as the reptilian brain. So for example, you step on a snake's tail, the snake is not going to think through and say that, oh, that could just be a mistake, right? So maybe I'll give this person a benefit of doubt. No, they just turn around and they try to bite you. So as children, we also don't have the prefrontal cortex. So it's impossible to filter and process our emotions and understand what the situation is. So for example, if there's blatant physical abuse, if parents hit their children, the children do not think that, let me put it differently. So if the children are hit, there's physical abuse, the children do not have the capability to really understand what is going on. So the emotional response they get is that I must be so bad that my parents have to take this big step to fix me. So I am not enough. I am inadequate. So now what I'm going to do? Well, I'm going to prove myself, right? I'm going to be the best child ever, and I will show everyone that I am so amazing. So then we become people pleasers, right? We try to fix everything about us, but there was nothing wrong with us. If parents are hitting us, it's because parents have not learned to be into that tolerance window. So it's not okay to hit children. And, we have all messed up at some point, right? We have snapped at them, and we might have, slapped them. Thankfully, because of this awareness, I have not done that. But have I pushed my child away because I felt I needed to do that? Yes, I have done that. But we do what we have learned from our parents. So if we haven't learned great, parenting techniques, we repeat the exact same behaviors that our parents have shown. Now, a lot of people don't talk about these things, right? But you cannot separate professional life and personal life. And the fact is that how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you are reacting to triggers at work, you are doing the same at home as well. So it's important to first of all embrace yourself that you are not two different people. That would be really problematic. So in our program, in the Unshackled Career Woman program, we use a process where we do tapping, and with that tapping we help you really understand where all this is coming from, and we pinpoint a few things that help you realize why you are the way you are. And then we help you overcome those root causes. So, whatever limiting beliefs have formed in your mind, we help you heal that so that you can create new understanding about yourself. You can create new habits. You can create new beliefs about yourself. And that is very critical, because once we do that, then everything else becomes much easier. Then it becomes strategies. But it's important to understand both. You want to work on your mindset, do the inner work, and also work on the professional side where you can then go and apply strategies. Because you could have the best strategies. Like, who doesn't know that to be successful you have to network with senior leaders, and I could give you the best script which I give my clients to go connect with leaders. But if you have that fear, right, if you go into that hyper arousal mode, hyper reactive mode, oh my god, how do I speak with the CEO, how do I speak with the CTO, then even with the best strategy it's not going to work. And you could have the best mindset, and if you have the worst strategies then it's not going to work. So this goes hand in hand. So it's important that you do, first of all, understand the root cause of the problem, then heal yourself through various processes. And the process that we use is one of the simplest processes that we use. And you start seeing those changes in just a few weeks. And once you have those new beliefs about yourself and you have that confidence, then you can go and speak up in meetings with confidence. The issues that some of our clients have, oh, my English is not so good or my accent is the problem, you eliminate all of that because you realize that it's not that, it's lack of confidence and it's lack of strategies. So we help you build that confidence and give you the proven strategies so that you can go be yourself, be confident, speak up, articulate your ideas, uh, you know, effortlessly. But here's the thing, you become resilient when you have an understanding of, what's the tolerance window. This is where you're optimal. So let's say somebody criticizes your idea, right? When you are in that tolerance window, you can reason, oh, yeah, they are criticizing my idea, they're not criticizing me. So let me figure out what is their concern. And then you can have that conversation with them. Okay, I see that you're not bought on my idea. Can you help me understand why that is? And then you can have an easy conversation versus going in your shell and your brain gets hijacked and emotions take over, and then you just feel miserable and you can't focus on anything else because you're constantly thinking about, oh, but John stole my idea, or John criticized my idea, and I should have thought about it before, I shouldn't have shared my idea, or I should have said it differently. And we go into that, I should have, if only that had happened. And it does not help at all because it takes a toll on you. Your brain is now overworked because now you also have to work on your project, right? And your brain is also trying to manage, oh, I shouldn't have spoken up, I was so stupid that I shared that idea without doing my research and whatnot. You will burn out if that's the pattern you have. So it's not a thick skin that you need to grow, but you need to understand the neuroscience of resilience and understand how to bring your emotions within the tolerance window. So it's not that, when you become resilient, you're not going to feel any emotions. You are going to feel emotions, but you will also have a way to acknowledge those emotions, understand that you are either, overactive or you have become numb. And then with the right techniques, you come in that tolerance window, and then you can make the best decisions or take the best next step. So this is a key criteria, or this is key for you to function in an optimal manner. This is when you can make bigger, scary decisions. This is when you don't feel afraid to share your ideas or opinions, even if they are unpopular. You don't get dejected if somebody cuts you off mid sentence. If you forget something while making your presentation, you don't get, you don't freeze, or you don't go into that freeze fright mode, because you have learned to manage your emotions and you're able to stay in that tolerance window. So leadership is not just about, having a vision and, having charisma. That's very technical, that anybody can do it. But if you want to be an authentic leader, being yourself and wanting to make an impact, then understanding yourself first is key. The other things, yeah, you can learn on the job. Leaders have coaches, right? They have coaches, they have a team, everything can be figured out. But the key is for you to first understand yourself and become resilient. Our clients, learn this, and now they are unafraid to speak up in meetings. They are unafraid to, you know, answer interview questions, even if, they throw curvy balls at you, curvy ball questions at you, they just know how to deal with it. If they come home and, the children are upset or whatnot, they don't get into the hyper mode or hypo mode. They handle it with kindness and love. And it's very important. It's a great skill. Resilience is a great skill. It can be learned. So if you are finding yourself stuck in the same position, and you are either overstressed, or you are just numb and you're losing motivation, you're procrastinating, know that it's not your fault. It's just you don't know how to manage your emotions. And if you're ready to work with a coach, if you're ready to work with me, reach out to me, schedule a complimentary one-on-one call with me at www.unshackledcareerwoman.com/call. What will happen when you click on this link? It will take you to my calendar. Pick a time that works for you, and we will get on the call. On the call, we will talk about what's your current situation, right? Where it is you want to go. And if if I can see that I can truly help you, we can talk about how working with me looks like, and then we will get you in our program and get you started and transform your career trajectory. This not only helps with your career, but it also helps with your personal life. You feel more joy and more fulfillment because now you are satisfied and fulfilled at work, because you can see that you are using your full potential, professional potential in your career and getting ahead in your career. And you become a better person because you know how to manage your emotions and stay in that tolerance window to be that awesome wife or husband or parent to your children. Until next time.